Coming to you live from the We the People Podcast Network. Welcome to your girl's favorite threesome, the Politically Correcting Podcast. We are your weekly dose of common sense. I am the Jose Pio, my co-host Lavelle Lewis.
Gia.
Austin on the ones and twos.
Oh, hello.
There you go.
Nailed
Let's
it.
toast, not with pizza, to our ability to share a drink with friends, have open and honest dialogue, and always strive to walk away still being friends. Salud.
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 And now we're talking
L'chaim.
threesomes. Yeah.
Oh, shit. That's pretty good.
It's good?
Yeah.
Speaking of threesomes, we'll go into our verse of the week. James 4:4 says, "You adulterous people,
I agree.
don't you know that friendship with the world means enmity against God? Therefore, anyone who chooses to be a friend of the world becomes an enemy of God." That Bible verse warns us not to prioritize their acceptance by the world over their faithfulness to God. When we conform to societal norms that conflict with biblical values, we essentially choose to be enemies of God. As followers of Christ, we must stand for justice and fight against the world's use of propaganda and social acceptance, even when it means going against the popular opinion. We are called to live in the world, but not be of the world. And we must always prioritize our relationship with God above our desire for acceptance and belonging in this world. We're going to start the podcast political news off right this week. Let's go ahead and play that video.
Get your popcorn ready?
Freedom. Personal freedom is fundamental to who we are as Americans.
There's nothing more important, nothing more sacred.
That's been the work of my first term, to fight for our democracy,
This shouldn't be a red or blue issue.
to protect our rights, to make sure that everyone in this country is treated equally and that everyone is given a fair shot at making it. But around the country, MAGA extremists are lining up to take on those bedrock freedoms, cutting Social Security that you paid for your entire life while cutting taxes for the very wealthy, dictating what healthcare decisions women can make, banning books, and telling people who they can love, all while making it more difficult for you to be able to vote.
Wow.
When I ran for president 4 years ago, I said we're in a battle for the soul of America, and we still are. The question we're facing is whether in the years ahead we have more freedom or less freedom, more rights or fewer. I know what I want the answer to be, and I think you do too. This is not a time to be complacent. That's why I'm running for re-election, because I know America. I know we're good and decent people. I know we're still a country that believes in honesty and respect and treating each other with dignity. That we're a nation where we give hate no safe harbor. We believe that everyone is equal, that everyone should be given a fair shot to succeed in this country.
Thank you for choosing us.
Every generation of Americans has faced a moment when they have to defend democracy. Stand up for our personal freedom. Stand up for the right to vote and our civil rights. And this is our moment.
Did you see him run?
Yes, I did.
We, the people, will not decide. I'm proud of you.
So if you're with me, go to joebiden.com and sign up. Let's finish this job. I know we can. Because this is the United States of America. There's nothing, simply nothing we cannot do if we do it together.
So we got the
Freedom.
president with the lowest approval rate ever, with the vice president with the lowest approval rate ever.
Mm.
The what was it, like 70% of Democrats in leadership don't want them to run again.
Mm.
In a party where they tout that they push forward change and progress and progressivism and people of color, they uplift people of color. What are your thoughts after seeing that video?
You know,
I know you're excited. Did you,
I
did you donate?
can't wait. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Like I'm so hyped now. What stood out the most to me though was when he went into the love part, right? And I'm only saying that just off of my recent experience this weekend at the Love Fest in Pittsburgh. It seems as though this is definitely a campaign. What is it called again? It's a commercial or ad.
Mm-hmm.
Their base is definitely the transgender community. That's who they're going. This is for them. This is definitely.
How
for
did you
them.
see that there?
Well, the telling people how and who to love,
Mm-hmm.
and now anything that involves like the drag story hours and the drag shows and the drag queens, it's about love. Like this is about love. It's not about sexuality. It's about loving each other. And when he said that there, I'm like, wait a minute. So all of these drag story hours had to come from the Democratic Party. It had to come from the campaign. It had to come from the Biden administration.
So I get where you're saying. I think you might be a little biased due to what you went through this past weekend.
Yes and no.
You want to chew?
We're having a party.
So I have a question. If I vote for him this time, can I be black again? Yeah.
I did lose my color.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm done. Like,
I woke up the day after election day looking like this.
Did you the big story that I think people should see? I shouldn't say the big story. This is what I like to do. I like to investigate a little bit further.
Oh.
Let's go into who's running his campaign. Have you seen who is running his campaign?
Is it a chick with a dick?
Well, I don't know if she has a penis,
Oh.
but it is Cesar Chavez's granddaughter. For those who do not know who Cesar Chavez is, he is obviously a huge far lefty based on the Democratic Socialist webpage that gave him a happy birthday shout out. I think that's pretty
Venezuela
clear.
That much? That's
Say
the
again?
guy, right? That's the guy from Venezuela, right?
No, that was the guy from California who started the Farmers Union, but he was taught by Saul Alinsky. You know who Saul Alinsky is?
Mm-mm.
Well, if you don't know who Saul Alinsky is, he is like the father of, what was it? The father of community organizing is what his term was. He wrote a book, Rules for Radicals, a practical primer for realistic radicals.
Ooh.
This is the guy that people were equating, were showcasing that he was Obama's mentor. So Obama was one of Saul Alinsky's community organizers in Chicago.
It makes sense. It's starting to make sense. And this guy's a socialist, isn't he?
Oh, big time socialist.
Oh, of course.
So what people don't realize is that I say Cesar Chavez, but yeah, Cesar Chavez, they're going to say, what's wrong with organizing labor? What's wrong with that? Well, a couple of things. Number one, Cesar Chavez, this was a farmers union. He wasn't even a farmer. Saul Alinsky, like, not even Saul Alinsky, it was another gentleman. I forgot actually the guy's name. But he was found, he was groomed, he was taught, he became a community organizer for the Farmers Union, specifically the Latino Farmers Union. They formed goon squads designed to intimidate the non-United Farm Workers Union workers in the fields by threatening them with physical harm if they continued to work while they were striking. They used Catholic priests to intimidate the deeply religious workers by calling them scabs. I think we've heard the word scab quite a few times from the far left. It says how the majority of those on the United Farm Workers Union picket lines were actually college students bussed in from across the country. Bussed in protesters. Never seen that before.
Are you sure?
Right. And the negotiations actually ended up in less pay for farm workers because their dues increased, which means that the farm workers took home less pay. So they were fighting for all the wrong reasons, but none of that matters because all that mattered was going after the capitalistic society.
Yeah.
They were very much against it. There is a connection to Saul Alinsky in Rochester.
Really?
He helped create FIGHT, which I forget what it stands for. But also he had an event where he had people, they bought up 100 tickets. So I believe it was the RPO concert, 100 tickets. And like the night before, they all ate bowls of beans because they were protesting against the elites at
so
Kodak.
They can fart and disrupt the show. Fucking retards.
I gotta hand it to them. That's a really good idea.
It's just gay though, bro.
But you gotta see how far they're willing to take these community organizing, because the guy was literally taught by the guy who wrote the book, who was a father of community organizing. If you don't, you need to read this book to understand how the other side is organizing against you. So if you know, you look at them, you see how powerful they are. You see how organized they are. You see how they continue to raise money all across the country for races that have nothing to do with the country.
Yep.
And they continue to succeed. You need to read the book, Rules for Radicals, A Practical Primer for Realistic Radicals by Saul Alinsky. Read the works that are done by, I don't want to say the enemy, because I really don't believe anyone's really the enemy.
They are.
But if you want to battle against people, if you see them as your enemy, you need to understand their mentality. You need to understand how they think, how they act, how they move. Once you understand that, you can fight against it.
You gotta be like the Jedi warrior, bro. You have to be.
You got to be above and beyond, because right now they obviously were not, whatever they did in the last election did not work.
Oh, it worked.
Midterm elections did not work.
I disagree. Totally disagree.
Elaborate.
It worked because number one, look who's in office right now, right? And
The midterms? Talking about midterms.
oh, midterms?
Yeah, when it was supposed to be a red wave. What I'm saying is that it didn't work. What you're trying to do, because it's what people are trying to do right now, they're trying to speak to common sense. You're trying to speak common sense to people who have none.
Wait. Who are the people that don't have common sense?
The far left.
All right, I will say this because it's on both sides. There are people who don't have common sense on the right, also, right?
The extreme.
Yeah, right. It's the
Right.
extreme. So the goal is to find ways to get the extreme together, the two extremes together, because they don't have any self-control to kind of work out their differences in a more, social, respectful manner.
Yeah, I completely disagree with that.
They don't.
Because
they don't.
well, I disagree that there's no way that the far left and the far right are ever going to talk today.
No. They can and they do. The problem is though, no one is able to see those conversations because again, they pay more attention to the far rights versus the far left. So all right, so I consider and again, I understand their stance on abortion rights, pro-life folks, right? Those individuals. I totally understand where they're coming from that. But at a certain point, when your emotions attach to your plight and it takes you further to a way to where you're not even willing to listen to the other side,
Mhm.
you are considered, in my point, someone that is more of a far right. There's no in between based off of what it is that you want and what you value, which I understand. If you have a stance, again, left or right, if that's what you believe,
But there's a way to use that. And
It's a way to use
that's
it,
what I
right.
think
Exactly.
is that
I agree.
it takes people like this podcast here to be able to showcase, look, we've had far left on the show and we've been able to have conversations with them. Sometimes it gets heated, sometimes it gets overboard, and sometimes it, less whatever, but it needs to happen. And it's not going to happen with someone who's so far right that they can't find any common ground with the far left. So it has to be
Mhm.
someone that says, look, let's talk about why you believe that. What is it about this aspect that you refuse to budge on? Well, we want, equal care for women. I do too. I agree with you. Let's talk about that. And we're going to talk about it right now. Chuck Schumer is
Chucky
pushing
boy.
for the Equal Rights Act, which in name, it sounds very good.
Sounds good. Always
Right?
does.
What's supposed to happen is once you have, 38 states who have enacted the amendment or the bill or the resolution or whatever it may be, then it's supposed to be law. It's supposed to turn into a amendment to the Constitution. That's when it comes up. They vote on it. They say, look, 38 states have agreed to it. It's going to become common law at this point. Well, when it first came out, I think it was like 1917 or something like that. It actually probably says it in the article. Only 35 states accepted it. 35 states accepted it, not the 38. It wasn't until recently, and you only have 7 years to hit that 38 mark. Well, it was like 25 years later that Virginia finally came on board and said, we'll be the 38th state. But this right here, this is one of those things where it sounds good. Equal Rights Act sounds good. But let me give you a few reasons why this could potentially end up with unintended consequences.
Wait, before you go further,
Uh-huh.
affirmative action.
Already there.
Right. It's already there. What? That's an amendment, right?
No.
So how is that? This is like they want an amendment for this.
They want a full-on Bill of Rights amendment.
Bill of Rights
Like
amendment.
the Second Amendment.
The second, okay, that's why I asked affirmative action, which is a thing,
It is.
but how is it implemented and enforced?
I believe that's an act.
It's an act.
Right.
Okay. All right. I want to hear. That's what I want to
Sure.
hear.
This is why we have a process for legislation and ratification. There has to be a process because we need to understand that we need to look past the here and now to see what are the possible unintended consequences that could come up. I wish they did that with bail reform, but they didn't. Here we are with the potential unintended consequences of Equal Rights Act here, and they're trying to push it through. Number one, it's going to sound weird, but hear me out. It could result in a legal system that treats men and women exactly the same, which is forced to, without regard for their unique needs and circumstances. This could lead to a situation where women are unable to receive the legal protections and accommodations that they need in order to ensure their safety, health, and well-being. For example, women may need accommodations during pregnancy or lactation periods, right? Hey, I need to go do this. I need to go take a little bit of time away from work. I need to pump some breast milk. Let me go into my room here. That's a lactating room. Well, guess what? Equal Rights Act says I have to treat you exactly the same as a man. So therefore, you can't have that room.
That's
and you
not how
can't
they're gonna
have
do
that
it.
time off. Say again?
I don't think that's how they're going to do it. What they're going to say is, men, you can also take the time off if you need
Potentially.
to lactate.
Potentially. Yeah. And then everybody's off from work.
Wait. So then this gets even deeper, right? We have a Supreme Court judge who can't tell the difference, though,
Mhm.
between either or. So how is this even going to get that far?
Well, what could potentially happen is that they take it to the extreme and say, well, you said you wanted equal rights. Here we are treating you equally. And so men could therefore take over women's sports.
Oh, we're already doing that.
Right. But it could become a law at that point
That it's okay to do that?
that you are okay to take over that women's sport because
Wow.
equal rights. There
Yo,
should not be a men and women's sports. There should not be a men and women's team to showcase America's athleticism on the world stage.
Bro, a dude just won the a marathon. Like a dude just broke a record within a marathon for women just recently. To you guys, like my
Mhm.
question, do you think it's the women's job to kind of stand up for this, or is it the men? Like how?
No, the men are going to come in and save the day. That's what's going to happen. It's what's going to need to happen.
What about the women though? The women.
Well, you see what happens. They
Can we get more women against it? Because it is
Yeah,
against them.
then they speak up, and then they get freaking security has to come grab them and take them to a locked room to keep them away from the radicals because they can't defend themselves like a man would. As a man, we are the original barbarians, right? We're going to fight back.
Mhm.
Like you're going to come in my face and spit.
Right,
You're going to
but-
spit in my face? No, that's not happening.
So for the first time in a long time, we need real men and real women to come together to stand up against this.
Well, I think women have been
Ideology.
fighting enough. I mean, see what happens with the kids nowadays they're showing up. We have Moms for Liberty who are showing up to these teachers association meetings, the school board meetings, and they're speaking up and they're speaking out and they're speaking very loudly. And they're even winning. They're running for these elections on the school board and winning. We as men, we need to stand up at some point. There's been far too much that has
But
happened.
where do we go though? Where is the first? So there needs to be, if there's a Moms for Liberty, then there should be a Dads for Liberty. Do you think?
Well, equal and opposite, right?
Yeah, right. There's a Moms for Liberty, Dads for Liberty.
But do we have
one.
enough men who are not cowardice enough to stand up?
I think we do. We just don't have the organization skills.
I think that's the difference.
We're just
We need
men.
women to organize
We're
it for
just
us.
men.
We're not. We don't. We can't
know
do two
our
things at
strengths
once.
and weaknesses.
Yeah, I can't do two things at once. If I'm making breakfast, I gotta make eggs first, and then I make the bacon, and the eggs are cold, and it's all messed up. And then I was like, crap, I need toast.
Yo, I swear to God, as a male and as a entrepreneur in my journey, learning the business.
The male part.
Yeah, the male part. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I know I'm a male. But knowing my weaknesses,
Mhm.
the importance of an assistant secretary or whoever.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I use my not secretary. I use my legislative assistant all the time for everything because I'm I'm putting together right now an event for the businesses of the Northwest. It's gonna be a Northwest Business Coalition. I'm getting the state leaders
That's
in.
dope.
I'm getting the mayor in. I'm getting everybody in.
Is this your last hurrah?
There's no such thing as a last hurrah.
Ah.
And we're gonna sit there and we're gonna hold them accountable and say, look, what are you going to do to protect us businesses? We have huge businesses in my district, especially. We have Rochling, we have Monroe,
Well, who are you talking to though? Is this to the city or is this talking to the state?
both.
Both. Okay.
I got Senator Cooney coming. I got the assembly member that represents our area coming.
Mhm,
I've got the mayor coming. I have the chief of police coming.
mhm.
They're all going to be there.
Well, let me ask you this: how many of them do you think possess the entrepreneurial mindset?
None.
Okay.
None.
All right.
None.
all right.
I say that because it, as you know,
Mhm.
it takes a different breed to risk everything, put yourself on the line, put your family's well-being on the line to go out and start a business.
Mhm.
Because everything is on you at that point. Everything is on you.
But that's what they want. Like within my Black community, my community,
Mhm.
they want us to be entrepreneurs.
Yes, they do. And there's a lot of money out there for you.
Mm-hmm.
A shit ton of money.
Mm.
A shit ton of money.
Can I ask you a question, then, Jose?
We're on a podcast, so yes.
All right, great. in your opinion, what do you think it takes for someone to be an entrepreneur? Can you just want to be an entrepreneur, or what does it take to be one?
I think the number one thing you need is discipline. The number one thing. And I can tell you right now, I lack discipline many days. So I have to put myself on a time blocking sheet. Like I have to say from 9:30, because I don't work before 9:30, till 12. This is what I'm doing. I'm following up on emails. I'm following up on estimates. I'm following up on calls. This is what I'm doing from 12 to 12:30, 1 o'clock. I'm going to eat lunch and you're not going to disturb me. I'm going to go ahead, sit there, eat my lunch, watch my TikTok, watch my Instagram.
You can go in your rabbit holes.
Go down my rabbit holes because I have a podcast that I have to freaking put stuff together for. And also sometimes I just feel like I have to dumb myself down because I'm so fucking smart all the time.
Allegedly.
I'm not pressing that button. And then, from 1 till 5, it's going to be various activities to grow the business at that point. I'm going to make the calls to different businesses to see if they're willing to get an investment or willing to be bought out.
So
and
you think on entrepreneurship, it's discipline first?
I believe it's not discipline first. It's just you need discipline to beat out the competition because nobody's going to be disciplined out there. They're going to do the job. What happens a lot of times is that there's business owners out there, there's entrepreneurs who are very good at what they do, right? So for example, let's say a cook. They're very good at cooking a meal, but they have no idea what a profit and loss statement is. They have no idea what it means to market on social media or to build a brand. They just know if I make this dish and I post it, I get a bunch of likes. How do you convert that traffic into paying customers? How do you convert those paying customers into consistently paying customers? How do you then convert that into a brick and mortar or a food truck?
Right.
People who are good at what they do, they usually don't know how to build a business. So from my perspective, I know how to build a business, but it takes discipline, a lot of it. And so what I end up doing when I team up with somebody, if I take on a part of their business, I sit there and say, this is what you need to do in order to become a business owner, not an entrepreneur, because I'm looking to elevate people from sole proprietors, from entrepreneurs to business owners. You have to have systems in place. You cannot be working in your business. You have to be working on your business.
Yeah, and I think that's where the issue comes into play, right? A lot of people have the expectations of being a business person or owner as if it's something that once you make that decision to go into it, right? All of a sudden you're guaranteed instant success, so they don't understand the work or have the knowledge to create the work for themselves so that they can accomplish those tasks, be disciplined, right, to accomplish those tasks that they need to accomplish in order to get the return that they desire, right?
Right.
The
or
return,
have leverage.
right. So you're like within my business, and I've been in it long, but the majority of time of me being in real estate is the education process. I'm the only one within like my entire family, my entire generational family.
I was gonna say, well, yeah, it's probably more than that.
You know what I'm saying? That is capable now at this point to get into the real estate business based off of what I learned.
How does that make you feel?
Well, it makes you feel great.
Isn't it fucking?
Yeah, it's
confidence
amazing.
booster.
It's great. Yes, it's a confidence booster.
Because then people look to you and they think you automatically know
I'm the go-to.
everything.
I'm the fucking go-to guy on anything in real estate.
My aunt asked me to make her resume for her yesterday.
We'll see again. Excuse me.
I was like, I can do that. This is what I need. I'll help you because I know how to do it and I can do it quickly. I need this, that, and the other.
But you're not going to do it all for them, right? You get enough to where, all right, you empower them by giving them information that they need. And then once you tell it and you give them that info, to watch them go out on their own.
Well,
That's
she found someone that did it for
gratification.
her,
Oh well, I
which
mean,
actually saved me a lot of time.
I mean,
Because she was like, I need it tomorrow. I'm like, do you know how busy I am? I'm a busy freaking person. That's why I was like, I need this, that, and the other. I need it in this format. You need to tell me exactly you're at.
but that's
you work
probably why
for.
she went somewhere else, because
That's
she
probably
had
why.
to do the legwork.
Yeah.
There was some
Probably.
legwork. Her expectations.
I love her. I love her.
Listen, I get it all the time. From within just all right. So my mom's process of her buying her first home, right? She's
Oh, dear
I mean,
Lord.
she's an OG of OG.
Yeah.
Like she like all of a sudden wants to buy a house.
Yeah, that's a whole. That's
But
Continue.
she thought within my knowledge that she didn't have to do anything. Right. And I had to break it down to her, the process. And when she found out the legwork she had to do, she was up for doing it. It's not too many people that's going to be
right.
You know what I mean? And those are
Usually
the
that's
special
The
people.
brick wall.
Yes.
And it's very hard to get people through that brick wall.
When they find out it's work that you have to do on your
Yep.
end,
Yep.
I'm going to give you the knowledge. I'm going to give you the tools. But if you really want it, you're going to go out and get it yourself. And I'm telling you, my mom was a fucking G. She literally did her. She had everything in a row.
That's a
her
whole
ducks
lot.
in a row.
That's a whole lot of difference right
And,
there.
You know, within my advice, everything worked out. Now she has a house where it literally doubled in value, tripled in value almost. And she's in a good space. But then there's others within my family. I'm like, when they ask the question, I need you to help me buy a house. They're thinking I'm going to be
You're going
the
to finance
agent.
it. You're going to be the agent.
I'm
Yep.
the agent, the
You're
buyer,
gonna show them the house, you're
seller,
gonna give you the
like,
money.
Get the fuck
Yeah.
out of here.
It's insane how many people out there, they don't understand the work and discipline it takes to be a business owner. They just know, oh, I can sit here and put on my LinkedIn, on my Instagram, on my Facebook, on my TikTok that I'm a business owner. I'm a boss. Well, kudos to you for taking that first leap. But that's one step towards where you can sit there and really eloquently say, I'm owning this shit. I'm owning it. Because a lot of people, they're not owning it because they're dictated by when a customer needs them, they have to work it. They have to be there. You're not owning your time at that point. We just turn in from this is what I love about this podcast, is that we're so dynamically like invested in so many different things that we can talk on so many different levels about not only politics, not only societal norms, but also business, money, finance, entrepreneurship, marketing, branding. I have my own trademark, FYI.
But
the lone soldier.
At the same time,
you need some money? I got you.
So the people that will connect with our show more on the entrepreneurial side, the business owner side, right? Those people connect with us a lot more because they see and understand what we talk about. They know we understand the value of freedom and what entrepreneurship guarantees for you.
I was gonna say it is the literal fabric of our society. So when we talk about the constitutional rights, when we talk about building America back to where we could definitely be the leader of this world.
Wait. Do you believe Biden's gonna do that?
Let's go by historical evidence. What has he done in order to show that he can do that? In the first 2 years that he has taken over our country, no one can say, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. There is one thing that I will give. There's probably a couple of things I'll give President Biden. The amount of spending that our government has done has decreased.
Really?
Allegedly. They manipulate the numbers because what they don't show you is that the first like month of January was so much freaking spending. Like as soon as he got into office, he spent a shit ton of money, and then he scaled back from that, and then he put out a couple of different bills, a couple of different legislation where he's like, we need this money, we need this money, we need this money. There's things that I don't agree with because as an investor, as a fellow business owner, I look at investments. I don't personally see today how the amount of money we've spent on the Ukraine war. I can understand how we want to battle Russia's control of Eastern Europe. I can understand that. I can understand how we want to.
Well, how
keep
can
them-
we though? We got fucking bases surrounding Putin, and he's like, "Yo,
We do. We
you're
have
right
NATO.
in my. You're literally in my backyard."
We encroach on his
And-
territory. Let's be very honest here. If you don't understand what has been happening, once NATO actually expanded, once we meaning NATO, expanded into Crimea, I would, if I were the leader of Russia, I would see that as aggression.
Ron Paul, he talked about this back in the Obama
Ron Paul's my
administration.
boy, dude. I love Ron Paul.
He talked about this then. You know, I'm glad we've gotten to a point to where on the Republican side, they've became less war hawkish since Bush, because
Isn't that crazy?
that's fucking insane, right? Because when Bush was in office,
We're spending.
they were trying.
spending. Let's go.
Imperialism. Anybody with a towel on their head, America.
We're bombing them from freaking the skies.
We're coming. We're
Yeah.
coming for your oil. We're coming for your towels. You knock down our towers, we're knocking down yours.
Who,
Hell yeah.
I'm trying
Hoorah!
Did you,
Hoorah in
Hell
01.
yeah.
You know?
Man, I tell you what, man, you're speaking my language now. And I think
show
we
the guy
should-
with the
yo,
mustache.
We should
Did
put on
we?
some Toby Keith and we start,
Listen,
you know.
the right had
talking
it
about
so
America.
good. They had a president that was making up words, strategery. My man said strategery.
Fool me once.
Fool me once.
Shame on,
Shame on you.
Shame on you. Fool me.
times.
Fool me
I-
once, can't get fooled again.
I don't care any Republican. If you were supporting the Republican ticket during the Bush administration, you have some splaining to do too.
No, there's no
Right?
explaining to do because we were all on board. Every
Ooh,
person.
speak for yourself. I wasn't on
You
board,
weren't on board with making sure we made people feel the pain
bro.
for what they did on 9/11.
Let me speak for myself.
Go ahead.
I said,
I was military at the time, so
yeah,
different biased opinion.
You were the one while I'm in the senior year in high school. I was the first one within. Once I heard GW was running for president, I said that was the reason why I did not enlist in the military. First of all, I was nice in football. I was like, yo, fuck that. I'm about to give me a scholarship, bro. Like, y'all go ahead and go to the military all you want. But within that, I said, and a lot of my friends were going into military. Now, at today, I wish I would have went, right? Because I know a bunch of my, close friends, they actually did not go to war, but they could have. I could have gone to Iraq. It was possible.
I was 2 weeks away.
But I said, I knew from senior year, I said, GW is about to be president. I knew he was going to be president. He's gonna come in after Clinton.
What was
and
it
he's
that
going
made
after
him? What made you think that?
because of the Iraq war. I knew I was
What's that got to
old
do with
enough
anything?
because I knew that Desert Storm. I knew Desert Storm wasn't a full victory for the United States.
Okay.
Saddam Hussein was still in power.
Okay.
And the Saudis, they were supposedly they were weak at the time. They couldn't fight their own battles, so they called the United States. Oh my God, Saddam's he's bombing our oil refactories.
Who we put in power?
Yeah, who we put in power, and you find that out later. But I said once I knew GW was going in office, I was like, yo, fuck that. I know, yo, they about to go to war. We are going to go to war.
You were that forward thinking as
Bro,
an 18-year-old.
As an 18-year-old, I was, and that's the main reason why I didn't join the military.
So how were you that intellectual at that point?
I really think I was blessed because I could have went that route, but I always had a interest in history, and I always understood wars and understood presidents, and I was old enough to know what was going on in Desert Storm and just witness the whole country get involved in the Super Bowl with the Bills and the Giants, the flyover, all of that stuff. It was so much emotion on the United States side.
Was it scary to you?
No. I always felt I was safe. I was like, yo,
I
I'm
was
in
scared
America,
as shit
bro.
When it came to freaking,
Nah, man,
Oh,
we
no, no.
bombing. We
I thought my
bombing
dad was going to
everybody.
war.
Man, I'm like, yo, I knew we were straight. I'm like, yo, we America, bro. We not about to. We're fighting wars over in other places. They're not coming here. And I always understood that I knew Pearl Harbor. You know, I knew that our bodies of water is what kept us safe. That was just what we were taught. Understood that. So when just leading up to going into my freshman year in college, I knew what was going to happen. I thought I wanted Gore to win, but then Bush won. I knew that from the, Florida. Remember back? I mean,
Hanging Chads.
right? That
Yeah.
there's no way Bush should have won that election.
You know who won it for him?
Who?
Oh, damn. What's his name? Damn, I just said it.
Cheney.
No, it was the flamboyant guy who got arrested during Trump. He was Trump's advisor. I actually love him. I would love to have him on the show. Roger Stone.
Really?
Roger Stone.
Mm. He was the No, that I'm thinking of somebody else.
He's a pinstripe guy. Roger Stone, right? That's his name. I'm pretty sure it's Roger Stone.
But what did he do?
He was the brains behind that. That's what I really love.
The
If
brains
I-
behind what? The rigging of
Trump?
the Florida election?
Yes,
Really?
because what he did was he created the. He said, who was it? It was Dole. He said that he was having sex with prostitutes and he would wear white socks.
Wait. Who would?
Dole.
Bob
Oh, Bob Dole?
Bob Dole?
Dole.
Bob Dole was first.
Was it Bob Dole? Is that what
Bob
I'm talking
Dole
about?
was
Bob
Clinton's
Dole.
re-election. That's who Clinton beat in re-election.
No, not him. Sorry. Who was the other one that Bush beat?
Al Gore.
Al Gore, yeah.
Was it Al Gore? No, I'm pretty sure it was Bob Dole.
No,
Al Gore was
Al-
who ran against George W.
Hold
Bush.
on,
the
let me
first
see.
time. It
Go
was-
ahead. Why?
It was Al Gore and then John Kerry.
Yeah, Bob Dole was a Republican. Bush beat the shit out of Bob Dole.
Bob Dole.
Bob Dole knows Bob Dole this, and he had the one arm like that was hanging with the pen. That's the only way he can kind of keep his hand from shaking because Bob Dole knows low taxes.
Bob
I forget who it
Dole.
was, but his whole thing. I mean, that was like his beginning.
Al Gore was the one who ran against Bush.
But yeah, Al Gore,
It was-
Vice
he was
President
super
Al Gore.
cynical.
invention of internet and climate change.
Yeah.
That Al Gore.
It's
Roger
Man Bear
Stone.
Pig.
You got to watch the documentary on Netflix about Roger Stone. I swear to you, I watched it twice in the same night.
Mm.
And there's
I'll
like
watch it.
literally maybe 4 movies I've ever watched twice in a row.
I'll watch it.
Matrix.
Okay.
The Nightcrawler.
Oh, with Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yes.
Is that good?
You haven't seen it?
No. I
We're
heard
not
so.
getting into movies.
Yes, we should.
I know. I was trying.
Yes.
The Kanye West documentary and the Roger Stone documentary.
I'm gonna check that out.
Check it out. Trust me, it's really good. But he's the mastermind behind getting people elected.
So he got Bush elected.
He got Bush elected. Yeah.
But how?
He was the one that he brought people to the count for the votes and made them like storm the area and said, if you don't freaking make,
So he knew how to kind of rig an election.
he knows how to rig election.
That election was rigged. There's no way
100%.
Al Gore should have lost that
100%,
election. No way.
100%.
No way. But the agenda.
It came
but-
down to the Supreme Court.
But get this, though.
chose.
That's why the agenda at that time was so important. They needed that to happen because Cheney and Bush were the ticket, and Cheney's connection to Halliburton and Cheney connection to economics. Period. It had to happen. So by any means, whether Al Gore, really lost fairly, Al Gore is a part of the overall agenda as well.
Well, look at where did he end up doing after, or
Yeah.
what did he end up doing after?
What was the
His documentary for
yeah,
global warming.
yeah, he
Truth.
got paid.
Right.
He
He said back in the 80s that by 2015 we'd be underwater.
Yeah, man. The
Mhm.
ozone. Yeah, watch out
Right.
for that.
So let
It's
me
on
tell
its
you
way.
something about that. All right. I'm everyone wants to paint people as conspiracy theorists or
I am.
you know,
Fuck it.
inside this and that the other. Nothing, not a single thing they have said that would show us that climate change was actually going to destroy us has happened. Not a single thing.
Nothing happened. No.
Not, and just to confirm that, if you were a bank, would you be giving mortgages to anyone who is buying houses on
Yeah.
the beach anywhere? Would you?
Mhm. Even that. What about the insurance companies? They would never insure
Would you ever insure it? Right.
Yeah. You want to get insurance money?
This is complete BS. And they said we're going to be underwater at this point. And then, I'm sorry, to begin with, they said we're going to be under ice.
Yeah.
Well, then the ice cap started to melt. So they said, well, climate change, we're going to be underwater. Well, guess what? The ice cap started to re-ice.
Yeah.
It fluctuates. It's all over the place. I'm not a scientist, so don't take it at full.
You sure?
What?
Allegedly.
Jose, you've sold me as like I thought you were a scientist this whole time.
I have the same degree as Bill Gates.
Oh,
All right. When it comes to science and when it comes to anything medical.
you sending shots at my man BG?
He has no time for the politically correcting podcast. All right.
He should
I guarantee he does
should
not
come on.
know who we are.
If we guarantee that we will throw him softball questions.
I would rather have his ex-wife on.
Ooh, that's what. Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Ooh.
Bill or Bill's ex-wife, open invite.
Oh,
Open invite Bill's ex-wife.
Melinda, come on
on
the
in.
show.
Are you saying
boo.
if Bill's accepted, he does not have an open invite?
Who?
Bill Gates.
Well, he has no. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I mean,
I just
but I
wanna
think that I would
clarify.
ask him way
Bill.
more questions than anything has to do with
Listen.
farmland or the vaccines. I want to know how, like, dude, how many people did you have to destroy to get to where you are today? Because he
Yeah.
did. He bought out a ton of people, ton
Whoa.
of businesses who never made it to market, who were probably better than his operating system.
How about this? The many vaccinations that he's put his name
Hold
behind.
on. Let's make sure we say the right things so that we don't get canceled by YouTube because
Yes.
we're
of
not
course.
signed by Rumble quite yet.
All right, my bad.
So allegedly.
Yep.
Allegedly.
Or I'm not even gonna say vaccines. How about that?
okay.
Jabs.
No vaccines. Nothing.
No, don't
nothing,
say the
candy bars,
Nothing
candy bars.
with vaccination attached to Bill Gates. However, anything that is attached to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation that has caused no matter what initiative they put their name behind,
Mhm.
in terms of research, that has caused any physical harm to any individual that is attached to their research. How if we counted that number and held Bill Gates responsible for that, would he still be free or would he be in jail?
He would still be free because he's a nonprofit. As a nonprofit, you're donating money.
But if he was held responsible for that,
Well, you can't be.
no, I'm just saying
That's the whole reason to start a nonprofit.
I know you can't, but if he was held responsible,
Oh, in a different world, you mean?
yeah, different world.
In a different world, would he be held responsible for what?
The physical adverse reactions.
Did he create the product?
It's like as good as
But that would mean like you investing in any company,
there's
you would be held
recalls.
accountable.
There's recalls on salad all the time.
Yeah, but again, if you invest in a company, you can't be held accountable for what that company did.
You're right, but again, we are talking about stuff that is being placed into someone's body.
But again, if you invest in a company that injects things into other people's bodies, should you, as an investor, then be held accountable?
Yes, if
What?
if you are claiming that it's supposed to have a significant benefit for them, there are reasons for them to even come to you, for it, even go down as far back as I have this elixir for you to take and you drink it, it's going to
Yeah, but
Give you
you're going to the realm of authoritarianism where we have this product here. It caused issues. Anyone who invested in this product and said, "Hey, I invested in this product and you should therefore be in line with this product," you are also held accountable to what you invested in. That means the
If-
bank would therefore be accountable as well.
if you are knowingly creating
He's not
cars,
creating.
if you are knowingly investing in certain things that has defects that will
I
cause
can't go with
physical
that. I
harm
can't
for
go with
you,
that.
See, I
should be held
think
accountable for it.
what you have to prove in that case would be malicious intent and knowledge.
Yeah, yes,
So
exactly.
you would have to prove that he knew it was harmful.
Absolutely,
before he
absolutely. Right, and I
invested.
think, and I
Right,
think
which that's what you haven't been
yes,
saying.
and that's what you have to, and that right there, I think it's easier. I think it's easier to prove.
No way.
Yes,
Not even
absolutely. I
close.
think it's easier to prove, especially when you're dealing with medications, because even for anything medical to make it to the point where it can be consumed and congested, the data, there is significant
So-
amounts of data that is collected by the scientists that are involved.
So let's
Right.
go more.
And then after the scientists, the checks and balances that comes within government itself,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Now, when the FDA or the CDC or the WHO, these quote unquote government organizations, right?
Right.
They are supposed to be the protectors.
Okay.
But when money on top of the information is involved and you are influencing them to
Well,
let certain
think-
things pass,
So you have to prove that he did.
you're right, and that's where the
And
challenge comes in.
Going back to Jose's earlier quote of Jose has the same degree as Bill Gates. Bill Gates is not a scientist. Bill Gates is not a doctor. So I think in this case he would have plausible deniability as far as like no, like he could just say, "Oh, the scientists told me it was beneficial. The scientists told me it would work."
Mhm.
You know, so and how unless you have like a recording of him saying like, "Yeah,
Right.
poison them all."
And you know what's
Um,
crazy? He's
yeah.
using the same defense on Epstein.
Yeah.
I just had a couple. I mean, it was just a couple lunches and dinners
But
and
I think-
outings and flights to the island.
I have to side with him in the fact that we live in America and we live under innocent until proven guilty.
I think I could prove his ass.
Is
guilty.
Trump guilty for what his business partners did?
What it has been? What
They-
situation is this?
They spent money to quiet a prostitute and then put it under his business tax returns. Should Trump be held accountable to that?
Did he not know?
I'm pretty sure he knew.
Okay.
So I think in that scenario,
Mhm.
when you have someone do your taxes for you,
Mhm.
they basically every time I've seen it,
They always ask if does this look right
does
to you?
this look right to you?
Yep.
And so I think they do that.
But who actually knows if it looks right?
Right. Well, I think that's
It's like
That's
reading
the,
the terms and conditions of a app that you download.
right.
Who actually reads that?
Yeah,
But it is your responsibility to
Yeah.
read that.
but
Ultimately,
I'm going back
yeah.
to Bill Gates. You go out there and your job, you're marketing this to people. So you are the most knowledgeable one
I
about
think you're
what it
trying
is
to
you're
find a
trying-
way.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not
I-
trying
I-
to find.
I
I'm not
feel
trying
like
to
you're
find a way
fighting on this
anything.
one.
No,
Oh,
I'm
you're-
not.
You're out there stretching.
No,
You are stretching.
no,
Ooh, look at that stretch.
So you mean to tell me to peep the underlings amongst Bill Gates? They're just gonna they're protecting Bill Gates off of what they already know is gonna fuck people up.
All right. So let's go with that then. Here locally, we have an issue with empty, blighted homes where people are squatting in, right? They own, if you're a landlord, if you're a housing provider, you own the home that people are squatting in. Should you then therefore be held accountable to what's happening in the community?
What? Run that back.
Should you be held accountable based on what you just said concerning Bill Gates investing, and therefore he should be held accountable for his investments? Should housing providers be held accountable to squatters?
I'm put like this. So this is how I'm gonna separate Bill Gates from this, right? Bill Gates
hear
is
this,
not
Reach.
no, Bill Gates is not just your typical investor, whereas he
That doesn't
doesn't no, he's not your typical investor where he doesn't know what's going on within the product he's backing, right? Because within Bill Gates promotion and marketing, especially when it comes to the pandemic situation, and then he was there with the solution. He was there from the very beginning, whereas the very group that he's financing and funding is also a part of the creation of the problem that we had that had the pandemic.
So could his involvement not be explained away with just he could make a profit if he knew if he thought the vaccine would work, he would still make a profit by the proliferation of that vaccine. So I think you could explain away his actions through that.
Yeah, but he's just sitting
And
there
so-
saying yes to everything, right? Go
Right.
ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. If you tell me it works, it's fine.
Yes.
So there's no adverse reactions.
Right. Yes. So that's he could absolutely be.
So he
just
never
saying that.
asked that question, though.
He might not have even asked that
No,
question.
he might never ask. Right. But
Yeah.
again, you're like you just understanding vaccines. You get in a vaccine game, right? You say, oh no, I mean, I created a software, so I know how viruses work for computers.
Sure.
So I'm just guessing, can the same thing happen on human levels? Like, the solution to the problem is going to create more problems. He's never going to ask that question. If it can happen with a computer, he's not going to think to ask the question with a human being.
I mean, maybe he did, and then they said, "No, it'll be fine."
No, it'll be fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
All right.
All
Oh,
right.
that
Yeah,
makes
let's
sense.
go around with it. Let's run it and, make every freaking male impotent.
Okay.
Even though I want to just decrease
Hey,
the population
Well,
at the same time.
let's go with that then.
I got the vaccine. All right. And
Yeah, we all know.
it
We all
has
know.
not
Austin.
made me-
Yeah.
but in
Did you
fact,
did you get one or did you get two or
I
three,
got,
four?
I got the 2 shots. The initial, like when it first came out, and everyone
Uh-huh.
got the 2 shots. That's what I did.
What made you get the
Oh,
second one?
It was.
Are we talking about
because I wanted to travel?
medical
and so
history
all
here?
sorts of-
So you were forced to do it.
No.
I mean, it
Not
was
Would you
forced,
say you were forced?
Coerced.
No, I was
Coerced.
saying like they said like you got to
Coerced.
get it. I was like fine, whatever.
No. Who said you had to get it?
Coerced. He was
so-
coerced, not forced.
Oh, coerced.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Trust me, I
Um,
know that because when I did my fight against the coerced vaccinations, I said it was not going to be mandated. They were going to coerce you into getting the vaccine in order to live your life fully.
But yeah, my point is, I'm not impotent. I'm pretty sure I had checked,
Allegedly.
and yeah, I
Prove it, Austin.
Now-
Prove it.
now-
Prove it.
I'm pretty sure I'm like hyperviral. Like my sperm just shoots right through the egg like a bullet.
You're not
know?
Superman. Not Superman. Sorry.
Fuck Bill Gates.
Fine, but still, we got to go with that. I'm all about equal energy, right? I want the same energy. So you're talking about an investor
Uh-huh.
who relied on the word of the manager for their investment. So
Property manager.
a landlord or housing provider who hires a property manager, property manager says, "Oh, this should definitely be the house that you invest in. You should definitely buy this house." Well, here comes some squatters, and they just live in your house for free.
Mm-hmm.
What now then?
Well, that's the
Should the
same.
landlord be held accountable?
That's the same as a.
In your opinion, I'm not saying they're held accountable.
I'll break it down.
Go ahead.
In my opinion, it's equal as it's the same or equivalent to a tenant that no longer pays rent and is still in your property and has not paid $1 since COVID went down.
Yeah, it's not
Right.
the same.
No, it is the same. It's the same problem. It's the same situation.
No, what I'm talking about is Bill Gates invested in a product, and he expected the management of that company to provide him with the right information.
Come on, bro.
Come on,
I'm not.
these
about to-
people invested
I'm
in a
not-
property.
I am not going to believe that Bill Gates is that innocent to where he's so reliant on these other people.
Innocent until proven guilty.
Okay, well, whatever. That could be his defense. That
Mhm.
could be his defense. But
That is his defense.
I'm willing to follow the paper trail to where just anybody that starts off as you are hands on to what it is that you're inventing, creating, and trying to put out to the world as something you're going to make lots of money from. You're not going to know what you're getting involved or getting into.
I'm sure Bill Gates has lots of investments that he's not, in the
Right.
nitty gritty of every day. I feel
but
like
ones that's going to bring billions upon billions from governments, hospitals.
You don't think he has multiple of those types of investments?
No, not on
Oh, you're
this
insane.
level. Not
You're
on this
insane.
level.
Not on this level.
Not on
No,
this level.
I'm trying to bring up first of all, squatters. What's the answer to this? Because even the landlord here, let's take the Bill Gates situation out. I was trying to show how
Segue, right?
hypocrisy can be happening on all different levels here. Property manager and I are doing everything we can to get these people removed from the premises and restore peace to the neighborhood. We have gone as far as offering substantial amounts of money to persuade the squatters to leave the premises. This is where we are in this city. This is Rochester here.
Mm-hmm.
I had multiple calls today from people I would consider family where a house got shot up across the street from them. They said, I had to throw my child on the ground and cover over them because of a house getting shot up. We hear about houses getting shot up every single day in the city. Maybe not every day. I don't want to over exaggerate. I would say every 3 days at the very least.
Enough to where we shouldn't even hear it.
Enough to where we should be fighting against it. So what can we do about squatters, in your opinion, as a person who invests in real estate? What should be the answer here?
First of all, the first place is the bureaucracy that wants to get involved, and you're using leaders who have no fucking clue on what investing or property managing. They don't have any idea of what this life is like or what it's about. Housing providers, what goes into real estate itself. You have a lot of people that's trying to come in and solve a problem they have no idea about. For example, right now within the state and also locally, they're trying to cap rents, stop evictions, all these social solutions to something they have no idea about. Damon Meeks is one of them. I can't wait to have a conversation with him because, again, he's backing a bill to try and stop evictions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
he also got arrested.
Oh,
for trying to stop an eviction.
He didn't even get arrested. He was agitating and causing a scene, and he had his camera there that was a publicity stunt.
Yeah, he got elected.
Election year, and I saw the whole fucking play. But anyway, my solution to this is, number one, the government has to protect the owner of the property. The owner of the property is providing a house for someone else to live in. They are taking themselves out of their property that they own to allow someone else to live in exchange for compensation.
It goes further. You have to defend the property owner because you have a right to property. But also number two, a contract was signed between
yes
the business owner and the consumer.
Yes, absolutely. So within that contract, you have to honor that, right? That is an agreement that was signed.
The government stepped all over that during COVID.
Yes. So what's stopping the government from, after this point, right? Once you no longer protect the owner from here, then you're not going to protect the owner just from the actual ability to own, period. That's like, you can literally just come in and just say the owner has no rights.
Yeah, because they literally put their finger on the scale. And even though there was a contract between two entities and that should be upheld in a court of law, they said, for the time being, this person does not need to pay that person. I would have been okay with that if they compensated the property owner. They didn't compensate the property owner. They required them to go through this whole ordeal of requiring the person who's renting from them to apply for help. And then on top of that, once they applied for help and showed that they were impacted by COVID, they could not evict them for 12 months.
So that's who's squatting there now currently?
There are people, the person bought the property and people were the holdovers. They said, we're not leaving.
And now they're still there.
They're still there.
Ooh, yeah. So, yeah, all right.
But it's happening all around the city. And not just that type of issue. There's houses that, let's say, were boarded up because of whatever. And then people are just deciding they're going to live there.
Now, my question, as far as the squatters that are there, why hasn't the eviction process completed? Why hasn't it gone through?
It starts May 1st.
So they just now started the process.
They haven't even started it yet. And I shouldn't say they haven't started the process. The courts are so backed up that it's taking that long to even get to court. Now, once they go to court, that person who is squatting can then say,
they can make it difficult.
I have rights, because the city has put money into the Legal Aid Society to allow free legal aid to tenants to combat the landlord.
Yeah. The only way that you're gonna solve this problem is the government going back to whatever laws that were in place before, and they are enforced. And then when they have the
It's not
sheriff,
more. It's literally just enforcing the
they're just enforcing the
laws.
law. And then when you have the the marshals coming in and putting the locks on the door and saying you got to get out and your shit's gonna be out on the on the sidewalk, that's the only way. Now here's another element that what's happening right now. City council, which I think you are aware of this, they're trying to stop short-term leasing, which is another counter to this. Like me personally, I would never rent to somebody for 12 months. I don't give a fuck what your family needs or what you're looking for. And look at me, America. I am not that owner. You're not going to rent from me for a year. Why? Because of this situation right here. Until the overall mentality of the tenants change to where go out and buy your own home, right? Compete and buy your own property instead of expecting someone else to accommodate for you. And if they do, understand what goes into it. Your mortgage has to get paid. Your taxes have to get paid. Your water bill has to get paid. Your the expenses on your utilities,
Water.
your water, but you're in charge of gas and electric. That's it. But all the other things on top of maintaining the property, making sure your grass is cut, making sure that you don't have any functional issues within that house that you are responsible for as the owner. You pay me to maintain those expenses that you don't have the ability to take care of on your own. Right? That's the whole exchange.
That's a good way of putting it.
No, yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Like you and I are exchanging money to handle those things that you don't have to worry about.
You either can't buy a house or you choose not
Or
to.
you choose not
so
to.
therefore, the reciprocal nature here is that I will do it for you.
I'll do it for you. You don't want to do that shit. You don't want to have to wake up and go outside
Unclog a toilet.
Right. And either, make sure the plumbing is straight. Oh, the electricity is fucked up. The plumbing is fucked up. We have big old cracks in our driveway. We got a hole in our roof. Our roof needs to get repaired. We got cracks in our windows. We need to upgrade this house. You don't have to do that. You don't have no responsibility. And by me relieving you of that responsibility, it comes with a price.
You should be compensated.
You should be compensated. Like, bro, you got a house on let me get Park Avenue. You're renting from me on Park Avenue. This is prime Rochester real estate. You're gonna pay for those services. It's a service. So what gives you the audacity to believe that you get to stay here for fucking free just because you're poor, just because you black, just because you're white, just because you're Puerto Rican, just because whatever the fuck you think you are entitled to? Shit don't work like that. No. Welcome to America, folks.
Welcome to New York. Shit does work like that. This is fucked up. That whole story is messed up because there's so many stories like that all around Rochester where I was on the nuisance abatement board and we had literally housing providers would come in. We were giving them points on their property because someone was dealing drugs in one of the apartments. And so police came, they ransacked the place, knocked down the door, arrested them, blah, blah, blah. And then the city put points on the property owner and said, you need to fix this. The property owner would come in and be begging and crying and saying, I have been trying to fix this. You won't let me evict anybody. You won't let me kick these drug dealers out of these apartments.
So my question is, what does Malik feel about that?
You're gonna have to ask him. I'm not answering.
Oh, all right. I mean, that's it. That starts with our leadership.
But I think this is just one example of how we can stand up for what is right in the city.
Well, again, do we have a city that's anti-capitalism? Do we have a city that do you really want minorities to buy the block?
You want to know why we're anti-capitalism? because we are forcing capital into the city based purely on your skin color.
So
That's what I have a problem with that, because if Austin wishes to start up a pizzeria and he says, you know what, I can provide a better pizza than that place over on Goodman Street. So I'm going to go ahead and start a place to combat that company. I can do it better and I can do it at a very fair price. Well, that place is owned by, let's say, a person of color. Austin comes in, invests his own money in there, and that person of color says, hey, city, can I get some free money? And the city says, what's your skin tone? Oh, yeah, I'm a person of color. All right, yeah, we got money for you.
This is where the city
And then Austin goes to ask for the same exact thing, and they say no. You know why? Because you're not.
Yeah, because we have socialist leaders right now. We literally have leaders who they idolize socialist black leaders from yesterday, and they swear to God there's some victims, but they think themselves they are the lucky ones that are here to accommodate for everybody that's African American, and say, or a minority. Sorry, I can't just say
they're not the lucky ones. They're the chosen.
in their mind.
They're the chosen
ones, right? They're the chosen ones. So now when they're in power, they're going to create these social agendas and these social freaking solutions, but yet none of them work, because it still starts with the individual. It goes back to what we talked about from the beginning. If you are an entrepreneur, you're not looking for the fucking government for anything but a tax relief. Like, just don't tax me, bro. Just let me find out what I can write off. Give me rebates. Give me ways that I can save money. After that, let me do the rest on my fucking own.
Not even just save money. Give me a reason to invest in this city. Give me a reason to invest in the people of the city, and I will.
Well,
that's a difference maker, because if you sit there and say, hey, you're a person of color, so therefore we're going to give you money, that's different from saying, hey, I have a business and I can hire a bunch of your inner city people and they can work, have a good pay, be within their neighborhood, be on the bus line if they take a bus, or be within a driving or walking or biking distance, or freaking getting one of the scooters. And we're going to provide them with
But that's what they want
every week.
That's what they want. They're separating them from their own freedoms.
I'm telling you right now, we're going to start losing even more businesses, because I said at the beginning, I have big corporations in my district, because the Northwest District has the most amount of jobs than any other district in the city. Look at me when I say this to you. 75% of the jobs in this city are in my district.
Well,
so when a employer says our employees don't feel comfortable coming to work, their cars are getting bum rushed into, broken glass everywhere, their body parts, and not their body parts, good Lord, their auto parts are getting stolen off of their vehicle and being salvaged at the junkyard down the street. And on top of that, last week we had some guy getting chased by the police. He crashed into a car and then he started running into Myers building to get away from police, and it caused everyone to go into a freaking frenzy. These are big corporations that pay a lot of tax money. And on top of that, when they call the police don't show up.
The mayor, it's all on him. Law and order, bro. Law and order. And again, they find the right people. They find the right puppets to be in place who have no fucking balls. The question
is it working? Is this working for you?
It's not working for me, but it's working for them. They feel as though they're doing their job.
How can they say that? How can they say that this city is working?
Because they're being lied to on the other end. Whoever is manipulating them.
What numbers are they coming up with?
Whoever is telling them to do the shit that they do within this party that is in control of the city, who's ever on top of them, whoever financed their campaigns, who's ever behind the curtain within the Democratic leaders of this city, they are following orders. They're doing what they think is right. They're doing what they think is socially part of the agenda of whatever it is they think is going to work for the overall greater good, but they have no idea that they are ushering in a dictatorship, a communist society. They don't know any better. And they're going to allow this shit. It's going to keep happening.
Well, they're cheering for big organizations like Walmart
Exactly.
to leave their city. And why is Walmart leaving?
I mean, why wouldn't they? Because of crime, right? They don't care. Walmart is going to be Walmart with or without a building.
They want to put everything online anyways.
They want to.
So why not convert every single one of their stores into a pickup or delivery store?
And then guess where the next place to go as far as getting any type of work or job, whatever. You're going to go to the government. Well, come to us. That's what they want.
Well, we just had a work session on the guaranteed basic income. You know, I walked in like this. I said, first one there. I said, no, I'm sorry, second or third one there. I sat there and said, I'm here for my weekly dose of communism.
Did they say, what did
They looked at me, they rolled their eyes, let
me ask you this, Jose. Do they really think they're not communists?
No, they truly believe they're the savior of people of color. They think they are high and mighty, and they are literally saving people from their own decision making, because that's exactly what it is. See, that's the problem, is that people don't take authority over their decisions unless they're self-made and they're millionaires or billionaires or they're well off. They're going to sit there real quick and say, I did this. My decisions did this. I chose to do this, and therefore I am here right now. Well, the opposite should also be true. If you made decisions in your life and it caused you to become in a poverty living mentality or even in reality, then you therefore should also take responsibility for that. Because who's ultimately accountable and responsible for your bills and your children? Who's accountable?
Oh, that's on you. But that's the thing. That's the trick, right? That's how you end up indoctrinating society enough to where you can control them, because when they start coming to you for the solutions,
well, when you create the problem,
and then also you have the solution just waiting for them.
Oh, we're just going to give you guaranteed basic income.
No.
And then they sit there and say, well, 95 or 98% of the people who go through this program are happier. Who wouldn't be happier getting $500 extra per month, doing nothing? Name a person in this world who wouldn't be happier getting an extra $500 a month. They're like, well, they're saving more money. Okay, are they getting out of poverty? That's the only outcome they should be looking for. But hold on, it's not even just that.
Yeah.
Because when they are told that if you receive this extra $500 a month, you therefore cannot receive your government benefits because you will be making too much at that point, they will choose not to get that extra $500 a month because they would rather choose to live in poverty.
Because again, it's easier to be the victim. It's easier to be the have-not because there's more people in their mind that have more than them. So I need to support the government that's going to make this more equal.
And I'm gonna keep voting for the same person that keeps me down here.
Because they don't look at it that way, Jose. No, the people that's keeping them down there, they think it's people that's helping them. That's why they have all these initiatives.
Are any of these stores closing in like big Republican cities?
Probably not.
This is the thing. They will sit there and say, oh, crime is happening all across the country. And I stopped them on city. I said, no. Crime is not happening all across the country. And they'll say crime is happening in Republican states. Yes, it is. But it's happening in Democrat cities that are within Republican states. It's not happening in.
But who are they trying to hold accountable for the crime?
Not the person doing the crime.
Oh, is it the system, society, and just...
Yes.
Oh.
It's so bad that Democrats now, let's bring up the list of exempting illegal immigrants from being sent back home. You can't see that. I can't even see that.
Bill looks to exempt vulnerable illegal immigrants
from
detention under 21 or other than 6 or older than 60, pregnant. Oh, there's the LGBTQA.
Real quick, right?
Victims witness to a crime. All right, I'm good. I can't read.
So
Has filed a civil rights claim, has a workplace claim, has mental or physical illness / disability, credible fear or of persecution,
the only real reason why you should be coming into this country is that one, credible fear of persecution.
limited English language proficiency,
Every single person coming across the border,
experiencing severe trauma.
everyone is. Who in this world is not experiencing severe trauma?
Bro, this
But
is
the number one thing is under 21 or older than 60. Remember they came out with too old to, what was it called?
Mhm.
Too old to do wrong. They started letting everybody out of jail who were older than 55.
Yo, this is part of one of the list.
LGBTQIA plus.
Yeah, bro, this is right here, prime example of communism on its way. You have law and order, social issues, you have everything within this that they're just throwing at the public to destabilize us, to demoralize us, to really get us distracted.
I have it right here if you want to look.
Every single, oh my gosh, like they are throwing the gauntlet at us right now. And the only way, like the next step behind this is, all right, when all of these things get implemented and the people that have fought for it, the people that literally push for all this to happen, and then the solution is a new regime, something that we don't have currently.
Mhm.
That's when we'll know. We'll know when this shit is over, when the solution to all of these problems is let's dismantle the Constitution, or we get invaded by a whole nother country, right? There's a Messiah that's
Are you
going to
saying-
come in and say they're going to change everything, including the Constitution, and then we'll know it's too late.
They're called the Antichrist.
That's what they call them. That's what they call them.
I'm
But
not-
you can't call them that, or you're going to be crazy. You're a far right extremist.
But who's pushing this right here? Who do you think is pushing this? Which side? You ain't gotta say it.
I mean, I don't know if you're talking about anything LGBTQAQ plus. It's probably the left.
It's actually called Legitibiqua.
That's the name.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
Just to make it easier for you to say, it's Legitibiqua.
That's pretty good.
Oh man.
Just to cut down on pronunciation.
I like Legitibiqua.
Right. I think everyone does.
Yeah, roll off the
Legitibiqua.
tongue.
We're gonna go with that. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Let's go on the opposite end with DeSantis here. What is DeSantis doing in Florida?
I love DeSantis.
Have you seen?
He's not
this?
banning books. He's not banning books. People, stop the cap.
Stop the cap. That's what we're gonna. I know you're
Stop the
gonna
cap.
say. Well, he signs a bill eliminating unanimous jury decisions for death sentences. So it used to be where every juror, all 12 jurors, had to agree to give someone the death sentence for a crime that was, let's just agree, it was egregious.
Mhm.
He lowered it to 8 people. 8 people have to agree because there was the shooting. What was it? There we go. The bill was prompted by a jury's decision last year to not hand the death penalty to Parkland shooter, the school shooter, Nicholas Cruz. A jury recommended Cruz receive a life sentence without the possibility of parole instead for the February 2018 shooting at Florida's Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. So we have a school shooter here. School shooter who shot up the entire school. They recommended the death sentence. The jury, I think at that point, there was like 8 or 9 of them that agreed to it, and it requires all 12 of them. The other news article there, which is written by the Tallahassee Democrat, which I believe is Democratic Chronicle for Tallahassee. It reads, though likely unconstitutional, Florida child rape death penalty bill makes headway. Now, what they're saying is that if you not just rape a child, but like it's like one of the high end, like aggressive rape, whatever the charge is, you should be given the death penalty. Now, I would love to hear your side on how you feel about the death penalty.
I am.
and the audience as well. Give us your take on how you feel about the death penalty. Should we increase the amount of disgustingly dirty, terrible things,
I don't have a problem with the
Crimes.
death penalty whatsoever. I have no problem with corporal punishment.
no matter what the crime?
Depends on the crime.
Okay. So there's a line drawn where?
Well, when you are dealing with a traumatic situation is going to cause mental harm to that individual for the rest of their life, right? And just the ways that we know is like pretty obvious, like rape. That person's ability to live a sustainable quality of life mentally is completely shot to the point where they're going to deal with that trauma on all levels.
So I'm going to push back on that a little bit here, because I was in a fraternity in college. In a fraternity in college, you tend to be at drunken parties.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens in that instance? A woman says she was raped by a young man who both of them were drunk. The guy said, look, we were both hitting it off. We were both fine. We were both everything. And then she regretted it like the next day. I feel like I hate to say it. I probably even
No,
shouldn't say it
you're
out.
all right.
But there are different kinds of rape, I
yes,
think.
yes, and your sexual assault in those aspects. Yes, that's why within our court of law, the
Mhm.
system that we have, the checks and balances that we have to respect it and leave. We have to leave it to itself. The media's influence has to be gone. The government's influence has to be gone.
But there's institutional racism.
I don't believe in that.
Okay.
I really
So
don't
if a
believe in
black
that.
man rapes a white young lady, you don't believe that there's institutional racism there?
No, that motherfucker's going to jail. If you did it, you got to go. But that's why I said it for those type of situations. This is why I think you need the system to be as pure as it is, and you don't need the outside influence to come in and try and state what they think is going on.
What if that young black child who may or may not have committed rape didn't have enough money to get a lawyer, and so therefore was giving a what do you call him?
Public
Defender. And the public defender was shitty and therefore did not do a good job, and that person was found guilty of aggravated rape when in fact maybe it wasn't that bad.
Which, when you get to those situations, the parameters upon you on death row, the time it takes for you to actually get to that point,
Mhm.
that's where that debate comes in. Because if there is a shadow of a doubt that you are innocent,
But does
And
this take away? Does this action now take that away?
no,
When you can require only 8 instead of 12
8 instead of 12, what?
jurors?
No. What's the
Because
difference gonna make?
if there's no doubt in your mind, then why should there
you're
be?
still going to have to convince between 8 and 12 people that you are guilty or innocent. Like it doesn't matter. You still have to
Yeah, but
prove
without
the
a
case.
shadow of a doubt, you should have all 12, right?
Well, beyond a reasonable doubt.
Without a reasonable doubt.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Beyond a reasonable doubt, you would think that all 12 should agree to that.
What difference does it make? 8, 12, you still have to convince 8 people that you are either guilty or innocent. Right now, if there's some shenanigans that are happening, what I'm
believe that
saying,
there
just
could be shenanigans?
just answer your question as far as
Mhm.
if you are innocent and you're put in that situation where you have a shitty attorney, right? At that point, your case is now public, and your case is public from the very beginning. Your case is public from the very beginning. So, other attorneys that are following that, you know what I mean? They're watching it.
So
But
there should be
you
some
as
pro
a
bono work.
Right, but you as a citizen, even though you are incarcerated, you still have an obligation to your own fucking freedom. If you know you are innocent, you're going to scream at the top of the rooftops that I am fucking innocent. You're not going to stop until that day comes. And if unfortunately you are one of the very few that is executed and you are innocent, if you are completely innocent, you are going to leave enough information behind you to show that you are innocent and you have nothing to do with the crime that you are being accused of. I mean, it's just the way it is. Now, I'm willing to bet the numbers today versus back in the late 1800s, early 1900s are much smaller than we have today. We have come a long way from just saying, okay, little black dude, I know you raped my girlfriend. Nah, bro, she wanted me, right? Those situations, far few in between is happening today. So if you are innocent from raping someone, I think it's easier for you to prove that today than it is back in the day. So I am for this simply because this isn't the 1960s anymore. It's not. It's not.
So I'm much like my politics. It's like whatever the issue is, I'll decide on that factor, because I would hate to paint a broad stroke and say, you know, if you rape somebody, you deserve to, you know, go to hell.
But if he
and
saves lives, if he rapes or if he saves lives, this is Dave Chappelle stand up talking about Bill Cosby.
Oh,
he rapes,
gotcha. Okay,
but he saves lives.
good Lord. Speaking of raping and also saving lives, Hunter Biden. Have you seen the Hunter Biden update on? Got that? There we go. So, come to find out, you know, for the past couple of years, they have been investigating the Hunter Biden laptop story, which most of the media has been saying the entire time, oh, yeah, it's nothing. It's a Russian disinformation, yada, yada, yada. And then come to find out it was actually not. And then they switched their story to, who cares? It's not really that big of a story. It would not have changed the outcome. And then the actual numbers came out and said 16% of people said who voted for Biden would have changed their vote. And then they said, you know, we just felt like the government would take care of it.
16% of the 81 million?
Allegedly.
So IRS agent, this is CNN politics, mind you. IRS agent seeks whistleblower protections to share allegations of mishandling in Hunter Biden probe. Now, what this person is stating, we're going to read through it real quick. Federal prosecutors have been investigating President Joe Biden's son since at least 2018, before President Biden even ran. This is CNN, not Jose Pio. Since at least 2018, and have Wade bring in charges against him for tax crimes and false statement. Okay, fine, we'll go with that. So far, no charges have been filed. GOP lawmakers in the House, meantime, have launched probes into the Biden family finances, as well as the so-called weaponization of federal government agencies, which, understandably, they should. According to the letter, the IRS agent can provide information that contradicts sworn testimony before Congress from a high-ranking political appointee. Information that failure to mitigate clear conflicts of interest in the ultimate disposition of a case, and examples of preferential treatment and politics improperly infecting decisions and protocols that would normally be followed by career law enforcement professionals in similar circumstances if the subject were not politically connected. Now, let's just say half of the stories about Hunter Biden are false. That would still supersede in number all of the multiple times they have tried to go after President Trump. Let's be very honest here. Very honest here. Again, I'm not sitting here being a proponent for Donald Trump or saying he should be president or nothing. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, as many times as they have gone after Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, it has been for far less egregious reasons than what has been brought up about Hunter Biden. Alleged connections to multiple different things. All right. Some of the disclosures would contain taxpayer and tax return information, said the letter. The handling of the case has been the subject of internal wrangling. Some IRS and FBI investigators and Justice Department prosecutors have been at odds about the strength of the case during internal meetings last year. Remember that back when Joe Biden was running for president, he had 54 FBI investigators sign a letter stating that it was Russian disinformation. And then there was a whistleblower that came out and said they got pressured into signing on to that letter of agreement there. So how many more things can actually happen to where we finally just say, you know what? Let's just investigate everything and get it all out in the open. So therefore, when President Biden runs for re-election, none of this can be brought up again. That would be if someone were to say Jose Pio raped somebody, Jose Pio did this, that, and the other, rape is like the worst thing ever, right? So you go to the worst thing ever. And we just talked about rape as well. He killed somebody, he smacked somebody, he smacked the old woman in the face, whatever.
Slapping old people?
Right. Off their wheelchair.
Oh, shit.
I would sit there and say, if I were running for, let's say, mayor, I would sit there and say, let's investigate it. Have at it. I'm here. I'm an open book.
I'm innocent. Ask me anything.
Ask me anything you want. Bring up all your people. Have them come ask me questions. I've got my people. They'll answer your questions. What you got? That is what a person who has nothing to hide would say. But also people, and I already know people will say, well, you're not supposed to talk to the police about things. We're talking about a president, the president of the free world, president of the United States of America. He should sit there and say, have at it. And now we have a whistleblower saying they have created a politically connected Justice Department, essentially, who are supposed to be investigating him. We have multiple people who have come out and said that Joe Biden has been taking a cut off of different financing entities
Of his son.
for whatever reason from his son. Why not just let people investigate it? Why get in the way of it? Why try and hide any of it?
Because it's that bad. It's probably that bad. And then even on the other end, if he would have came out and say, "Oh, investigate me," like, yeah, I don't want nothing to hide. That's an arrogant, pompous dictator that knows that what the FBI has already done, swept it under the rug. He already knows what social media hasn't done, suppressed it. He knows that no one's gonna care. No one, like the conscious American public today, there is a small minority that go on the TikTok rabbit holes, that exchange messages to each other. Like I know someone that, like, her and I literally believe that the earth is flat right now. Like, the flat earthers are creating a very good argument right now with the flat earth. It's
I'm going that far on that one. I'm going
it's
that
a
far on that one.
compelling argument
not.
right now.
No, it's not.
But
Continue.
But just think of the levels of just conversations that are happening right now, right, Jen? The conversations that are being
He
had
called you out.
on so many different levels. I think people who are in power today know that there's so much confusion out there that people really are so desensitized to like corruption and politics, that Joe Biden and his son, like his son can be caught on camera smoking crack and they know that their base will not care.
And there may or may not be. And you know what? I'm not going to go into it because we got an episode freaking blocked on social media, even though we said this is just an allegation
Yes.
and therefore this is a conspiracy theory. We just want to put it out there.
Yeah.
But this article here ends. Let me tell you exactly how it ends here. And this is how they're going to make it sound like it is political on the other side. A final decision rests with U.S. Attorney for Delaware, David Weiss, a Trump appointee
Accountability.
who was kept on to oversee the case. Investigators widely anticipated a decision on charges to come in December after last year's midterm election, but the investigation remains ongoing.
Again, bro, lack of accountability. It's that side. That side is the side of no accountability. I can say at least on the Trump side, right?
He showed up to court.
The problem with on the Trump side and the accountability is going to be with the vaccination stance, warp speed, all of that.
Yep.
Right. And then also
He is continually defended
He's gonna ride with that. He has no choice.
Who's going to be his vice president? What do you think?
If he wins, it's gonna be DeSantis. He has no choice.
He's not going to choose DeSantis.
He has no choice.
His ego is way too big for DeSantis.
Oh, he has to.
No, it's
he
not gonna-
has
no.
to. He has no choice.
0% chance.
If the Republican Party wants to continue their control, you have another 4 of Trump and then maybe 8 of DeSantis. That's the only thing that can save America at this point.
I
Or
would
vice
love,
versa.
I would personally love
be-
to see
It would
DeSantis
be
be
8.
the
It would
vice
be
president.
8 of DeSantis and 4 of his, and another 8 of his vice president selection. That's the only way he's going to save America for the next 16 years.
So do you don't think that he should take on a woman vice president to kind of combat Kamala Harris?
No, fuck that. You don't need any.
You got to think
You
8
don't
year lies
need
here.
anybody to combat Kamala. You don't need anyone. Like
That's
you
not
can
nice.
have AI.
That's not nice.
You can
Tim
literally
Scott?
have-
That's the black guy from Florida, right?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, probably. I don't know. I don't know too much. I do know his Surgeon General.
Is it wrong
pretty
to
dope.
say black guy from Florida?
I mean, no. I mean, I don't know. It depends on who's listening.
I remember someone was like trying to describe somebody one time, and I said, "The fat one." Why are you trying to go around the whole subject? Just say the fat one. We all know it's the fat
You're
one.
trying to be politically correct.
No, I
Jose?
ain't trying to do all that. We're gonna end it on this conversation here.
Oh, we're ending.
No, on this one coming up.
Oh, I'm about to say. It's like
what do you mean? We're
8:40.
we're literally
only
supposed to have ended
8:45. What the
14
hell's
minutes
going
ago at
on?
the very most.
Brian, what Michelle just said, Brian Donalds.
I don't know who Brian Donalds is.
Byron.
South Carolina. Oh, Byron.
Not Joe Byron.
Joe Byron.
What's
What-
up, Michelle?
What'd Jen say there? Read it off to us. I can't see that.
Just have a male and a male. We don't need a female unless they have healthy conservative views, like
Mm.
Candace.
I agree.
Candace cannot be vice president because she went against Trump when it came to the vaccine.
No, she could. She could be.
She tried holding him accountable, and she literally came out and said he was wrong on it during
And
their
I
interview.
love Candace, and Trump would need that. He would need somebody to hold him.
Another black woman.
No,
vice
not just a
president?
black one, but anybody that can hold him accountable and kind of
Can you
realign him.
imagine Candace Owens against Kamala Harris?
Oh, that'll be fucking. Oh my god, that'll be
please.
brutal.
You know what?
That'll be a fight.
I might have to agree with that.
That
Go
would be
ahead.
like that'd
Go
be
ahead.
like putting Mike Tyson up against a female in a fight. Like Mike
An
Tyson would
alleged female or
no, a real female,
Okay.
a real biological female
Yeah.
up against Mike Tyson in his prime in a boxing match.
Candace Owens would
And Candace Owens is the Mike
her.
Tyson, and fucking
Thank you for elaborating on
Kamala
that one. Yeah,
is the
thanks.
other half. No, I mean
There are people out there who believe Kamala would be Mike Tyson in that situation.
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad. I mean, and it just goes to show that within just the Democratic Party, like, yo, y'all got some smart, you got some smart, like analytical people in that party. You got some smart people.
I am pretty smart. I get it.
But they also have some people that love the country, that respect capitalism, and also
Thank you so much.
and also understand that there are some social dynamics within the country that it can do for people.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time, if you just learn how to set boundaries within these social programs,
There's no boundaries with the far left. There's only boundaries on the far
that's
right.
what they need to fucking learn. And that's probably why people like yourself and folks like what's her name? Is it Gillibrand? What's the
Tulsi Gabbard.
Gabbard? That's her name. Who's Gillibrand? This is one of them. hosts.
Gillibrand is she is not on this list.
Not
but she's a New York
she's a
senator.
New Yorker senator. Okay,
Yep.
okay. But Gabbard, she's dope, and she's also
She should be the vice president pick.
Ooh.
She's independent now though.
She should run for president again.
I would still vote for her.
I would
vote for her over Trump.
Yeah, I like her.
I'd vote for her over Trump. 100%.
But yeah, just like Michelle said, Democrats, they don't even want to fucking debate, bro.
No, never.
Kamala, oh my God, no. I'm going to take it to Twitter.
I have told the far left, I was like, I will ask Lavelle not to come on a podcast, and you can have 2 or 3 people come on and just talk to me. Just come on a podcast. Have a
They
conversation.
still want to do that.
They still won't do it.
Dang, bro. Am I that bad? Like
No, it's not you. They're afraid of me.
Well, I will. Yo, I got blocked yesterday.
It's probably my fault. They're probably afraid of me.
It is you.
It's probably awesome.
You're
actually.
the atheist. You are the one.
Yeah.
He's worse than atheist. He's a Satanist.
You can't
You
prove
can't
that,
prove that.
Jose.
You can't prove
We
that.
can't prove that Satan is a real thing.
I don't.
Satan
I-
isn't real.
He doesn't believe in either of them. He like, yo, they both whack to me.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
Yeah, you're both wrong.
But I got blocked, yo. I got blocked just because, you know, they're trying to victimize Don Lemon. I'm like, yo, fuck that. You can't have it each way. You can't have it every which way.
That's a fantastic
segue
into it. Exactly the conversation I was going to say would be the end of the podcast tonight.
Oh, well, you know, this fucking guy, yo, you can't prance around, pun intended, and think you can say whatever you say just because of your color, right?
Not only because of his color.
Yeah, you got the Trump card. You're gay and you're black.
Right.
Like, what the fuck, bro?
If he would have said he's a they them, trifecta.
And yo, this is my problem with a lot of African American men. There is a large majority of black men, and I'm talking to you guys if you listen to the show.
Camera shot.
Black men.
Go ahead.
Yes, this is not Jose speaking. This is a black man to a black man talking. You 50 plus and up pussy black men out there who is still crying over what your great grandfather went through in the 1950s and 60s. You are not him. He did all the work for you, pussy. Grab your nuts. Okay? Stop acting like a victim. All right? And do something with yourself. That's why Don Lemon got fired. He got fired. We have to literally stop thinking that we don't have a set of laws that is not explicitly singling out white men at this point in history. There's no color mentioned within the Constitution and the amendments, the Bill of Rights. There's no color mentioned, none whatsoever. So the reason why this pussy got fired, Don Lemon, is because he tried to justify his belief, his feelings as a gay black male who has his platform of being an anchor. He felt that this Indian guy had no right to speak his mind on what he knew was true within the Constitution. Tucker getting fired and Don Lemon getting fired are two different things, two different situations. And there's too many black men like Don Lemon today who are in positions of power, who are in leadership, that are out there spreading this victimized mentality to the youth, and it's causing more social problems, and we are losing more ground today than we ever lost in history. Fuck him. Period. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Should he have been fired?
Absolutely.
Should they switch spots?
Who?
Should one go with CNN and the other go to Fox News?
Now, I would prefer Tucker on CNN. I would if Tucker could be Tucker and then go to the audience on CNN.
Remember when Trump won and how crazy they went?
Oh gosh.
Can you imagine Tucker going to CNN?
I would love for Tucker to go on CNN because
what I would love to see, not to cut you off. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say what would happen is that the ratings that CNN in the far left would think they would lose, they would fucking gain. They would definitely gain. And so many people watch CNN.
He's the only reason I would ever watch any Fox News at all. Tucker Carlson is. I love the guy because he's insane.
Yeah, he's good.
He's insane.
He's good.
His laugh is ridiculous.
He came a long way. Because when he was on CNN, he was a bitch.
I'm not sitting here saying that I agree with Tucker Carlson. I'm sitting here saying that Tucker Carlson was entertaining and he brought news in a way that, all right, yeah, make fun of them. Like he was blatantly making fun of people who were too far left.
Bro, he interviewed Kanye.
And too far right.
He interviewed Kanye when nobody would interview Kanye.
He interviewed Kanye. He interviewed Elon Musk.
I mean, you got to give that man his props.
You have to.
Yeah. I liked his his incredulous face. You know, the one where he just sort of cock his head and like look at the person like, what are you saying? that was my favorite.
I want to see them start a podcast together and be able to have a conversation about politics. That's what I want to see.
Don Lemon wouldn't ever have a podcast with.
No,
Tucker
he would
Carlson,
never do
though.
it.
Yeah, but how amazing?
I don't know if Tucker.
But
Carlson
how
would have
amazing would that
yeah,
be?
Well, Don
it'd
Lemon
be
would
awesome.
need Tucker Carlson for that.
Absolutely.
Don can't go and start his own anything.
He's too busy on Have you seen that Amazon show, The Rings of Power?
Oh no, I haven't. Oh, is that the Lord of the Rings thing that
Yeah.
doesn't get any type of publicity because it's bad? I heard.
It's awful. But the lead, every time I see the lead,
Oh, that's him.
I
That's
think
Don
I think
Lemon?
he looks like Don Lemon.
You know what's so
The
funny?
guy in the back left.
Don Lemon looks
the
like
guy in the back left looks like
Don Lemon looks like
Uh,
White Wolf, the guy who got his meat cut off in Game of Thrones. That's what he looks like.
I stopped watching Game of Thrones as the bloody wedding, the red wedding.
Oh, that was tough.
That was
a
it.
tough one.
I was
That
pissed off. I was way
yeah.
too pissed off.
Yeah,
I said, I'm done. That's it. I can't do this
That
anymore.
was a tough episode, man.
I was upset. Highly upset.
That was a tough one.
So I haven't seen it since. Has it been any good?
No, it was great after that.
Oh,
wait,
was it?
sorry.
You
Game
stopped
of
watching at the
Thrones?
worst. Yeah,
Yeah.
you stopped.
Oh,
You stopped watching at the worst time. You
I
should
don't think
have.
it got
I think
better
that
after
was
that.
Stop
peak.
after the last season. The last season you don't have to watch.
The last two.
Yeah, the last two. I agree.
Yeah.
You don't have to watch
Season,
those.
season 4 was peak though.
Yeah.
But he
Uh,
also liked the Pope's Exorcist. So I mean, there's Only so much
Ooh,
I
I would
can
not
take
put that
care.
on him.
The Pope's Exorcist is really bad.
It was
I
comedy
still
though.
liked
we
it.
should go see
it's-
Nefarious. Is what we should go see.
Nefarious.
What's
I don't
that?
know that one.
See, this is the problem right here. This is actually why it's all over TikTok. So Rotten Tomatoes, look up Nefarious, Rotten
What
Tomatoes.
is that?
Nefarious is a movie that is that talks about the evils of what's happening in this world. It's literally it's not we fight against flesh and blood, but the evilness behind it all.
Hmm.
Look up their Rotten Tomatoes there. So the professionals who rate movies on Rotten Tomatoes, they gave the Fauci movie like 90% satisfaction, and the people gave them like 25%.
So they
the-
got money for that, huh?
Right. In this movie, let's bring up the what do you call it? Let's say that shows right there. 33% of the reviews of the professionals are positive. 33%. So it's terrible. Right? It's supposed to be a terrible movie. What did the people say? 97%? Does that say 97?
Yeah.
97% of the people are loving this movie. Click on that. Let's see what that.
What is it about?
Oh, you wanna
Click
watch
on
the trailer?
Yeah.
Well, let's do a trailer. Let's do it.
Can you show it on the podcast? You hear it?
Oh no. Ad before the trailer. Oh, we're gonna mute that.
Peter Pan. Yo,
Have you seen the trailer for this show though? It looks fucking awful.
now I heard Peter Pan has a more of a demonic,
Mm-hmm.
reason for being created. I didn't know about that one.
Oof, I'm with the 33% so far.
Nah, this ain't it. A way better one.
This isn't the preview that you're talking about.
No.
This is the movie, though, right?
Nah, see, that wasn't it. I'm gonna send this to you. I'm gonna send you 2 different links. You can create one. Doesn't matter.
You want to play another trailer for this movie?
That was way different from what the trailer should be showing, which is why people are for it versus against it.
All right. So, can you explain it? Like what?
Sure.
Because I
Yeah,
saw
where
that
they-
trailer and it looks like very
A terrible movie,
generic,
right?
Stupid.
Yeah, it's a
generic yacht
red
movie.
pill movie.
Boo.
So it talks about how the demons are in Hollywood and how they are using movies and TV to corrupt your mind.
Okay, so the reason 97% of the people who watched it are all already
97%.
yeah, because no
Name
one is
another
seeing
movie
it.
that's 97%.
You know what? Here, let's click on a random one. See if I can
Let's
find one.
let's give me a far
Uh,
left movie that's 97%.
Dude, what is this? Oh, that doesn't have audience. What about this guy? That doesn't have an audience one yet either.
you know,
Now that's 100% though.
That's the critics. That's what I was.
I am.
You know what that means.
I do
Yeah.
appreciate that the show does get into the cinematic universe because
Boom, here we go. I clicked 3 movies. Mobile Suit Gundam, Kukuru's Stones Island has 100% both tomato meter and audience score. I don't know what this is, but I'm just
What is that?
anime.
Click
Oh,
on
I
it.
mean,
Let's see.
anime, so
Let's see.
obviously
here we
that-
go. Let's
click
see
on
what
it.
let's see what the 100.
Let's see what this is 100%.
like.
I mean,
yeah.
100%.
What are your kids watching these
12
days?
to 15-year-olds. I'm sorry,
Right.
12 to 45-year-olds.
All right,
I was gonna say, that's an ad.
that's
There's
an
no
ad.
way that
We're
was a
gonna
movie.
Mute that.
Disney.
Um,
Oh wait, are those shades?
The Facebook Live shades?
Whoa, they got crazy shoes.
No, these are shades. This is
5 gig.
Oh, is that
Oh, this is
Frontier.
Frontier.
Yeah, Frontier.
They got Frontier
All right.
here.
All right.
we just gave them a free commercial.
Oh,
Why do people watch this? I don't understand.
Don't sleep on anime and their lessons.
Why do black people love anime?
a lot of white people like anime.
No, but a lot of there's
So it's definitely a black. thing
yeah,
for
it's
sure.
definitely a black thing.
I'll explain in a second.
Well, we can cut this short. Trust me, no one's gonna care. Not a single other person's gonna care.
You don't like
except for
Gundam?
nah, dude.
It's a Gundam.
Unless it was Oppa Gundam style.
A lot
What is
of,
it about anime that black people like?
A lot of black people like kung fu back in the day. A lot of black people are attracted to Chinese culture.
Fine.
So that,
Asian,
right,
You can
that's
only say
started
Asian.
in
Chinese culture. I mean, that's pretty much Chinese movies. It's
So
synonymous with
you're
black
tracing it back to like when they would do the kung fu movies at
Yeah.
night in the
Mhm.
in all the theaters in like the 70s.
Yeah, they know
And
their
so,
audience.
So then the black people went
That's
saw
the
those
that's
movies.
literally structural racism.
It is, but at the same time, I think that by design, right?
Or systemic,
Um,
sorry, systemic racism.
Yeah, by design, the Chinese culture and its infiltration into the black communities is, deliberate. They want black people to think more like Asians. They want black people to think more like Chinese folks. They are the ones that are easily manipulated into little social different constructs of their way of life, and they're just a target. This is calculated, bro. This isn't
So
anything that is
just putting it out there. Anime is not Chinese. It's Japanese.
Japanese.
Japanese, Chinese.
And you know, the
dirty knees.
The Japanese and Chinese hate each other.
they
Like,
they do. They're right.
yeah. Like so, like that's,
Shoot.
yeah. I'm just
But Japanese are just as controlled as Chinese folks in the same way.
no.
Yes, they are.
No,
They,
Japan is not does not have like a dictatorship. Like it's not.
they don't,
They
but they all wear masks. They all comply. They all do the same things that they do in China.
I don't agree. The Japanese are very familial entity, and also on top of that, they care more about the group than the individual.
That's the problem. That's the problem. Collectivism is what communism and socialism and all that stuff is.
Right. So we should have led with that.
Oh, well, all right. I agree. But that's, again, just within that. You know what I mean? If you want to control a group, control and manipulate a group, use the same shit that you use on folks that where it works. Excuse me. It works in China. It works in Japan.
I
It's
sent you
gonna
the
work
other
here in the
link.
United States.
We gotta watch
So,
one of the
no,
other.
apparently when we're playing a trailer, they can't hear.
Can't hear?
Yeah.
Oh damn.
My bad.
Well, go check it out for yourself.
We say if you watch ER TV series from the start to the end of the series, first they were pro police, then in the early 2000s they were against police. First of all, anything that we see on TV, we already know CIA, FBI, federal government, they control what comes out of it.
Allegedly.
Thank you.
Gotcha.
So
What else did we miss there? We I saw a bunch of chat messages. And,
It was mostly saying, "Hey, there's no sound."
dead air.
oh, sorry
suck.
guys.
That's what they're saying. We
Sorry.
suck. You suck.
Yeah, we were
Dead
not
air.
prepared for that. I apologize. That's my own fault. I was too busy thinking about the Pittsburgh Drag Story Hour.
Figure that out.
Pull up that picture.
Wait, sorry. Oh,
The Pittsburgh Drag Story Hour.
Mm.
did you send that to me today?
Yes.
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 There it is.
Yeah, I was told I was on the news again.
You weren't in this picture, but Kevin was.
Oh, I was there.
You were there, and you were treated with fair respect and equity and love.
95% of the time I was.
Okay.
95%.
Who were the other 5%? Was it another black person or a Blasian?
It was a black guy that looked very Asian,
Ooh.
that felt he had an ounce of black in him to where I could be called an Uncle Tom,
Mm.
simply because I did not adhere to the Black Lives Matter movement. And
How did that get brought up at a drag queen story hour?
well, while I was having a pleasant conversation with a lesbian couple,
Pleasant for you or for both sides?
both sides.
Okay.
Very pleasant and cordial conversation. The Kablasian or the Blasian felt it necessary to interrupt our conversation because, again, we were, establishing some common ground. He wanted to interject into the conversation and cut me off at every time I tried to respond to him and answer his question. While, mind you, he had the gay pride mask on his face. And then when I said, well, it's the same situation with the Black Lives Matter movement, everyone's kind of playing victim, etc. When we're just all we need to do is just have a conversation and see where trying to get that out. And see, automatically right then and there, I already know you are a Uncle Tom. Like, huh? What?
How dare you not fall in line?
I mean, if you don't agree with everything that someone says, there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you if you don't agree with me and everything I say. Right? That's how I took
all
the
black people
conversation.
should think alike, right?
Yes, we all should be victims.
Right.
We should all agree that we are oppressed. And I'm like, I asked him, I said, I'm not oppressed. How are you oppressed? He wouldn't answer it. That's when he got
course not.
defensive and said, I'm the Uncle Tom. So it's like, all right, I'll be Uncle Tom. All right, cool. Tough guy. Say that to my face.
Let's say about the Latinx Roundtable.
Ooh, I'm pretty sure, I can't wait to hear your experience as it just gets worse,
Mhm.
because they are infiltrating your community also.
Oh, they're pushing hard body
Mm.
because they're turning pretty much every Latino into a gay. They're not a regular. I can't even say a regular gay person. They're making them into like the stereotypical gay. So when you
Mm.
see like a picture of a gay flamboyant person, they tend to use a Latino or Hispanic, to portray what it's like to love one another, right? To accept one another. It's always, for the most part, when you watch the commercials from now on, you're gonna look at them like, damn, that's a Latino.
Mm.
That's another gay commercial with a Hispanic right in the forefront of this. Another drag queen story with another Hispanic right in the forefront of it. The Latinx Roundtable, it was held in combination with City Council, and since this was a city council sponsored event, because it was in connection with us, I then spoke up and I said, look, since this is a city council event, I would respectfully ask for you to not call it Latinx, because, and I provided them the numbers that 40 something % of Hispanics hate the word, not just dislike, not just don't want to use, they hate the word Latinx. And they chose, the 97% of Hispanics chose the word Hispanic. 97%.
It's not 100.
I presented that information to them. I included the survey to them, and they stated, okay, well, the group decided we're going to call it Latinx Roundtable event, and we'll make sure that when we refer to you, we will call you Latino. Oh, I'm sorry, Hispanic. And I said, I completely agree with you that we should definitely not care about how people feel about words. And we should definitely use words that offend the majority of people, because that is our right. Thank you very much for agreeing with me. Not a single response after that. Because if someone sits there and says, I don't like that word, and I would respectfully ask for you to use this word, which is inclusive, and it's not a complete puke of the English language, because that's what Latinx is. You can't freaking sit there and say that's a normal word.
What's
all right?
the inks part though? I mean, what is the inks part?
Latinx.
What is the X?
So Latino is a male version. Latina is a female version. So when they talk about both female and male in the Latino culture, it's Latino, the male dominant. Every word is male dominant when you talk about both sexes. So they sat there and said, well, we don't want male dominant. We want equal dominant. So we want Latinx. So they just made up a word that 97% of Latinos do not like.
Yo, who is the fucking man that signed off on that within your
It was
community?
a white, liberal, educated elite. That's all you can say. That's all you can say, because there's not a single Latino out there or Hispanic who sat there through a class and said, you're right. The word Latino is not inclusive. I wish there was another word that wasn't male dominated that is also inclusive of both genders. Hispanic already exists. The word Hispanic exists.
Well-
It is a word in the English dictionary. You didn't have to create a whole nother word. You didn't have to change the end of the word. It existed already.
Just to correct you, apparently 3% of Latinx did sit through that class and agree with that. You know,
Thank you, Austin.
yeah, no, I got you.
So if the vast majority of Latinos find that word offensive, we should not use that word. But when the biggest nonprofit Latino or Hispanic or Latinx-based entity in the city says this is what we're going with, what do you think that every other person that follows that group is going to go with?
Yeah, they're coming after y'all next.
I refuse to allow that to happen. I refuse to allow that to happen. I will not
Well,
allow
at least you
that
caught it
to
early,
happen.
bro. At least you don't have like 100 years behind the 8 ball.
But I sat there and said, I am offended by this word.
Don't matter, bro.
How do you sit there and say when someone is offended by that word and you don't change it, and your whole entire shtick is you create words that are non-offensive? And literally someone comes along and says, I'm offended by that word. And you sit there and say, oh, well,
Jose, you don't know better. They know better.
they're more educated, obviously.
Yeah, they know better.
Right.
Yo, man.
So you can't sit there and say that they are inclusive if they aren't inclusive of all. You can't sit there and say that they are the group that speaks for an entire entity of people when 97% of those people do not agree with the words they use.
And these decisions are coming from non-governmental groups. These are
Let me call them out. Ibero is not for the Latino culture. They are not for the Latinos in Rochester. I'm telling you straight up. Ibero is very persuaded by politics. I don't care what anyone says.
Dang.
Come at me.
Sums that up.
Come at me. Doesn't
How
matter.
do you really feel?
I do not care for an entire entity who decides on their own that they're going to become a political entity, that they're going to change from a nonprofit where they should be non-biased when it comes to political, whether left or right, and they just go ahead and overtly state that they are far left.
They are.
That's it. I can't stand for that.
And I will say this just off of currently right now with some of the social agendas that I'm working on right now, that group that you are talking about, they are in the works right now with, with black groups and other folks. They are in the works of trying to find youth that they can indoctrinate with that same level
Start
of
young.
Yes, that same level of victimized thought. If they can get more young Latinos in the same room with African American kids, and they're all together learning just one thought,
Right. The same mental opinion.
Same mental opinion of white supremacy, and you have to fight for what you have, or your ancestors had to fight for what they had, but they didn't have any opportunities. No one was successful. They were all servants and fucking, abused. They are really at work in trying to do that and like really indoctrinate these kids. But I will say it is not as Teflon of a plan as they thought.
No one, you have to find I hate the word chink in the armor. Is that racist?
Chink is racist.
Yeah. Is that the proper term?
No, but
It is
like,
chink in the armor.
Yeah. In that context,
in that sense, I can say
not-
chink?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Can I say spigot?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
if
Just wanna make sure.
it's all context.
All right.
Yeah.
So you got to find a chink in the armor. And there is a giant chink in the armor right now for the Ibero American Action League.
Now,
All right.
hold on. I do have to clarify. You're not talking about like an Asian knight, right?
No,
Okay.
there are no such things.
Okay. Just check it.
What they or who they do not represent are those who want discipline and order on the streets. The people who have been living in their house for 30 years off of Clinton, who are sitting there saying these young rascals out here who are riding their dirt bikes and ATVs up and down my front lawn, who are keeping me up all night, who are blasting their guns up in the streets, who are
Bang,
blasting their
bang.
music all over every night. They don't want that. What they want is to wake up in the morning, go to work, make a proper dollar to feed their family, house their family, clothe their family, and then go to sleep and do it again the next day. That's all that Latinos in this city want. Don't mess with that.
Only Latinos?
No, I think that I speak for Latinos. As a
Ah,
Latino,
there you
I speak
go.
for Latinos.
Mhm.
So when I sit here and say, look, what we like to do, we like to work hard. We like to have a couple drinks. We like to, listen to music. We like to maybe sometimes dance. And then the next day do it all over again. But we don't stay up all night blasting music on a Tuesday night.
I think they're doing it because they are afraid.
Who's afraid?
The left,
Afraid of what?
they are afraid that the Latino community.
That's the only thing holding. Listen to me. You represent a huge voting block in the city.
Mhm.
You can literally change the dynamic of the city. If
Mhm.
if 75% of voting Latinos decide we want to change the way the city is going and we want to vote based on our true values, we can do that. We can do that. We can change the entire dynamic of the entire city. We can change the dynamic of the city school district. We can change the dynamic of this state. If we came together and said, we no longer want to ride down this path of far left ridiculousness. We want straight up to be able to make $1, keep $1, invest in our own families, and go again the next day and do it all over again. That's all we want, is to be able to raise a family in a city where our children get educated enough to graduate, possibly go to college if they want to. If they don't want to, get a good job so that they can get married and have children and raise the next generation of our family so we can be grandparents. That's all we want. I know that's all you want. So stop voting the way these people want you to vote. They're insane. They're crazy. They want the nonsense to keep happening on Clinton. They want you to move away from that, move into the Northwest District, move into Charlotte area, and then they want to bring that nonsense to Charlotte. That's what they want. And they want you to sit there and shut up about it. Stop shutting up about it. Speak up, because you all call me complaining about the same person that is leading all of this nonsense, who refuses to stand up for anything, who refuses to speak up for anything, and you call me and complain about it so that I could be the voice for you. At some point, you have to be the voice for yourself and your own family. You have to be, because I can't be here all the time. At some point, someone's going to kill me probably for speaking up too much.
Because it's easier to be a victim, though, Jose.
Because it's easier to rely on someone else to go do it for you. Because if this person over here says it for me, I don't get ostracized.
It's easier.
In society.
It's easier for you to point the finger at somebody else. It's not you. It's the other person's fault for my current circumstances.
Speak up.
The more people,
Stand up.
the more people you can find, though.
You know you want people in jail. Look, this
Bro,
is what
but
they want. They want people who shoot houses up to go to jail. They want people who shoot little kids when they're on their way to school. If you don't remember, there was a little child who got off the bus and got shot up in a drive-by shooting just last year.
Mhm.
We already forgot about that.
Oh, they forget about that.
Remember the 3-year-old who got shot like 3 times through the house
Mhm.
while her grandmother was braiding her hair? Do you not
Mhm.
recall this? I know you don't want this. I know you don't want this nonsense. I know you want to invest in a property, become a housing provider, and you don't want people deciding they're just going to live in your house for free. You know that's nonsense. You know it's nonsense to be able to go to a certain street and go ahead and call all your freaking drug addict friends to pitch a tent and decide you're just going to shoot up drugs in the middle of the street while their kids are freaking getting up on the bus, getting up for work in the next morning, and you're all seeing you going like this, and you're on Google Maps. You can go on Google Maps and see people shooting up in the middle of the street, on a street that everyone's complaining about. And as soon as we clean it up, people cry about how we're being racist about it. Get out of here. You know it's nonsense. You know it's ridiculous. You know I'm the only person of common sense on city council. You know that. But I know I'm not. I know there are other people on city council who do have common sense,
You're not talking about the president of
who just aren't, who are just too afraid to speak up.
City council. You're not talking about that guy.
Well, the problem is I don't care about re-election. I never cared about re-election. I chose I'm not going to run again.
Mm.
You know why? Because something bigger is coming.
Mm.
Austin, hit that funky music.
You just dropped
Oh
the
my
headphones.
gosh. I wasn't ready. All right, here we go.
Drop the headphones.